I know most of us really wanted to see Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair this year at WrestleMania, but Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair is not a bad option. Let me paint this picture for you. It was Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair for the NXT Women's Championship. This was when Rhea Ripley was still in NXT. She was an upcoming superstar at the time. Charlotte Flair had won the Royal Rumble this year, earned the right to face any champion she wanted to at WrestleMania. Charlotte beat Rhea that night to become the NXT Women's Champion, and a lot of us really felt that just was the wrong move. Well, now Rhea Ripley has a chance to rewrite that wrong in her career. Don't get me wrong, Rhea versus Bianca would have been huge at WrestleMania, but if you really think about it, Rhea beating somebody like the caliber of Charlotte Flair, honestly, I think it means a bit more. Not only do I think this will help solidify Rhea Ripley as like an established top star in the women's division by her beating Charlotte at WrestleMania, but the SmackDown women's division also needs some more stars like Rhea Ripley, so her going over to SmackDown to be a part of that division is a good thing, I think. Plus, if she goes to SmackDown, I'm sure the Judgment Day will go to SmackDown with her, and also think about it, we still don't know what happened to Rey Mysterio in the Royal Rumble. Obviously, we're all sure that the Judgment Day has something to do with Rey Mysterio not being a part of that Royal Rumble, so the Judgment Day goes to SmackDown, and we probably get not only Rhea versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, but probably father versus son, Dom versus Rey at WrestleMania. And also think about it like this, Rhea beating Charlotte would be like the passing of the torch to Rhea. Just like when Bianca beat Sasha at WrestleMania a few years ago, it was the passing of the torch from Sasha to Bianca. And Bianca, ever since that win, has been an established top star in the women's division. I think this really could be the same scenario for Rhea. Like, her beating Charlotte at WrestleMania would be huge for Rhea's career, and this officially, I think, would make her an established top main event star in the women's division from now until beyond. It's time we slowly move out of the Four Horsewomen era, because all of these Four Horsewomen, they're all legends. They're all established. They're all future WWE Hall of Famers. They paved the way for future women in the business. Like, they have done everything there is to do at this point. It doesn't mean they still can't be around, but I think it's time we slowly move out of that era and we move to the new era where we establish new top stars for the women's division. Bianca's established there, and I think it's time we establish Rhea on that same level. And think about this, we get a win-win scenario here. We get Rhea versus Charlotte at WrestleMania, and we possibly could get Bianca Belair versus the new reinvention of Asuka. Bianca could put over Asuka at WrestleMania and help get Asuka also back on track to being an established main event top star in the women's division right now. Because Asuka at one point was the most dominant women's superstar in the division. Bianca's been on a dominant, great run as women's champion, and Asuka beating Bianca at WrestleMania would do wonders for Asuka, and that would put Asuka also back at the top. I know Asuka probably could have went back to SmackDown and challenged Charlotte at WrestleMania and beat Charlotte to be established at the top again, because Charlotte did beat both Rhea and Asuka at WrestleMania, but me personally, I think Rhea's loss at WrestleMania hurt Rhea more than Asuka's did. She went from losing to Charlotte at WrestleMania, which was fine because Charlotte was extremely believable to beat Asuka, but then she's losing to Carmella after she beat Asuka. That's what really hurt Asuka to me. And I understand they obviously wanted to push Carmella as champion and establish her like as a top star in the division, but her beating Asuka that hurt Asuka a lot. To me, Rhea lost like so much momentum at that WrestleMania when she lost to Charlotte because she was the NXT Women's Champion at that time. She was still down on NXT trying to make a name for herself on the come up as like one of the future stars of the division. And her beating Charlotte would have done wonders for her at the time to really establish her like, oh, Rhea Ripley on the come up. Like, she definitely one of the next top stars in the division. So once again, look at this whole picture. We can get Bianca Belair versus Asuka at WrestleMania. Asuka can beat Bianca, and Bianca would be fine losing to Asuka because with this run as women's champion, she's established now as a top star in the women's division for the next couple of years. With Asuka now reinventing herself into the dark, evil like Kana that she was in Japan, this could help reinvent Asuka back up to the top of the women's division as probably the most dominant women's superstar in the division. And then you have the redemption story for Rhea Ripley, have her beat Charlotte at WrestleMania to officially establish Rhea as a main event star for the women's division. And then think about this. You could have Raquel then beat Rhea later down the road, which also could help establish Raquel as a top star in the women's division for the future as well. All three of these women can be top stars in the women's division right now. Bianca's already there. She's already established. It's time to establish Rhea on that same level as Bianca, and assuming that Rhea beat Charlotte at WrestleMania, which she should, then Rhea can help Raquel get to that same level as her and Bianca. After, assuming Rhea beats Charlotte at WrestleMania, Rhea will have so much momentum and steam behind her, and then if Rhea loses to Raquel and make her champion, then it's a win-win situation for everybody. Asuka's now back at the top. Bianca's still going to be at the top. Rhea's at the top. And then Raquel gets to the top as well. That's how I'm looking at it personally. Like, if it goes down the way that I'm thinking about, I think it's a win-win situation for everybody because then you officially establish a lot more top stars in the women's division besides the Four Horsewomen. With Bianca at the top, with Raquel and Rhea, like, we got plenty of time to see a lot of those feuds right there. We got plenty of time to see, Bianca versus Rhea at future WrestleManias. Plenty of time to see Raquel versus Rhea and Raquel versus versus Bianca at future WrestleMania. It's like, if they all get established at the top with kind of the way that I'm thinking about, along with Asuka making her the most dominant superstar in the women's division, then we got a lot of time to see a lot of these future matches and feuds in the future. And think of all the women's talent you got down there in NXT, like Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark and Lash Legend and Tiffany Stratton, Cora Jade, Roxanne Perez, just to name a few. Can't forget those women on the come up as well. And by the time they come up to the main roster, if you have top stars like Bianca and Rhea and Raquel and many others established already, they can help get those women over when they come up on the main roster to continue to establish future stars for the division. So the women's division stays fresh. That way we don't have a repetitive of like the same people in the main events all the time. Like, that's to me how you build stars for the future. That's how I'm thinking about it.